Easy rivalers, and welcome back to my channel. We need to talk about the current state of ranked in Marvel Rivals right now. In this video I want to go through the meta, give you some tips on how to counter it, and some suggestions that I think the devs could put in place to tackle this living hell that we're in. So for those that don't know, the current meta that is dominating ranked games at the moment is triple support. Even though 2 are enough, 3 is a nightmare to deal with. You'll often see teams running Luna, Cloak and Dagger, and then a combination of Invisible Woman, Loki or Mantis as their third support. Now, why is this meta so oppressive? It's quite simply down to their defensive ult, and when played well, you'll see the 3 supports stagger their ults to keep the fight going, and is really tricky to win against. There seems to always be an answer to your aggression. I'm a big believer in not introducing role queue, but metas like this can ruin creativity of composition building. It's pretty boring and is almost as bad as goats in Overwatch, but it isn't all doom and gloom. Here are some counter picks and tips that you can use to tackle this raid boss meta. My first tip is to counter pick with Iron Man. Iron Man is one of the few duelists in the game with an ultimate ability that kills through these defensive ults. When you think or know that a Luna or Cloak and Dagger has an ult ready for their team, use your maximum pulse early in the fight to get rid of them, prioritizing Luna first. Don't worry about killing only one support. If you remove their ult from the fight, that is really great value for your team. The other thing you can do is save your ult for when one of the supports is using theirs, and then kill them through it. My next tip is another counter pick option. 2 other duelists that can kill through these support ults are Moonknight and Namor. However, it can be slightly harder to land your ult on Luna that's moving all over the shop, so it's a really good idea to pair one of these duelists with Groot. If Groot can gather the enemy team together and combos with either Moonknight or Namor's ult, they're dying, even with a support ult on top of them. These duos, when played well together, can be an amazing counter to this meta. Man is Groot, bruv. My next tip to counter this meta is to play a super divey comp into them. Play a super divey team and make sure you all focus the same healer at the same time in every fight. Characters like Magic, Psylocke, and Black Panther are great at getting in the back line. In fact, these 3 duelists in one team is great because of the team up. If they want to run triple support, run triple DPS to outdamage their healing. Vanguards that you can pair with this trio are Venom, Hulk, or even Captain America. To reiterate, just make sure you're all focusing the same support together. Other team comps that could work would be 2 dive DPS and 2 dive tanks. On the subject of tanks, for my next tip, I want to suggest Magneto as a great counter pick into this meta. His ult is amazing against Cloak and Dagger's ult because the damage from it charges up your attack to the point in which it one-shots. If they're running a Cloak and Dagger, be sure to have a Magneto on your team to nullify their chances of saving their team. Now, this last tip pains me to say, but if you can't beat them, you might have to join them. If triple support is just too much to play against, run 3 supports with defensive ults yourself. If you're doing this, pair a Loki as your third choice with Luna and Cloak and Dagger, because there'll always be tons of defensive ults you can copy as Loki. This is where you'll really see him shine. There is nothing more annoying than a back-to-back Luna ult in a fight. I guess we just do nothing for 24 whole seconds. Great. Okay, so I've given you a few tips to counter the meta, which I hope will help you out in your games. I'd love to hear your strats in the comments and other ways to play against it that I might have missed. But what can the devs do to avoid this becoming a permanent meta? I've got a few suggestions that I'd love to get your opinions on. My first suggestion on how this meta can be switched up is to introduce slower ultimate building in the game. This could either be global for all roles or just for supports. I do think ults build a little bit too quickly in general, and in almost every other fight there are ults to come up against, if not every single fight. They just build way too quickly. Luna's ult, Cloak and Dagger's ult, Storm and Moonknight to mention a few. It's crazy. I think this change could make the game a little bit more interesting and not reliant on overpowered ults to determine the outcome of every fight. Another thing that I think the devs could look into is the overall healing output some of the supports have in this game. There's countless times where you'll get an enemy down to 10 health and then all of a sudden they're back to 100%. Blink and you missed it. I don't think I've ever seen another hero shooter with this amount of healing. We're often faced with end game stats of 40, 50, 60k healing and more in a single match. A slight healing output nerf might help how the game plays. Okay, so for my next suggestion, something that could be implemented is a 30% healing penalty when playing 3 supports on one team. Maybe 30% is a bit too harsh. It'd be down to the devs to determine what percentage decrease would make sense, but I see this as a welcome change in a game where the healing is always super strong. This would also force players to carefully consider whether the benefit of having 3 dedicated supports outweighs the reduction in healing output. Okay, my final suggestion is a really fun one. I think this game could really benefit from a character with a hack, EMP, or nerf. Someone that stops the enemy team from using any abilities or ults for a certain amount of time. This is a character archetype that we're missing in the game right now. Think Sombra from Overwatch or KO from Valorant. This would introduce some amazing counterplays that would feel incredible to pull off during a team fight and would be a really welcomed addition to the game. Maybe this is what they've got planned for Rogue. She is capable of absorbing superpowers from anyone she touches. Which character from the Marvel Universe do you think would suit this type of playstyle? Let me know in the comments. Okay gang, that's my suggestions for now, but before this video ends, I just want to say that I still absolutely love this game, and I believe in the devs in taking the game in the right direction. I won't stop playing, new metas will pop up, and I just hope it doesn't bore the community to death. If you've enjoyed this video, please leave a like and sub to the channel. I stream on Twitch every day at 5 PM British time, and I'd love to see you there. Also, let me know your thoughts and suggestions about the meta in the comments, as I'm always keen to hear from the community. Until next time, Rivalers, I hope you laying it down in your ranked games.